start from here? 1, 2, 3, or does it start from there?
Just remember that you can find your name.
Row 6, seat 4. Congratulations. Row 2, seat 5.
We are so very, very proud of your accomplishment.
Almighty and loving God, in a special way today, we thank you for these graduates and for those being honored and for their respective families and friends. Bless all who are a part of LaGrange College, those gathered today and those in distant places. Help us to be mindful of the words of Jesus as he said, I am the truth, and I am the way, and I am the light, and I am the living water. And further, may we be obedient to his command to love, serve, and obey. May all that we do and say this day and beyond give you the honor and the glory. In the name of the risen Christ we pray, amen.
One of the great pleasures of being at LaGrange College is the wonderful music that we are allowed to hear. What a wonderful example of that. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this, the 2010 commencement celebration at LaGrange College. For 150 years now, after moving to the Hill from its original site, the college community has gathered together on this campus during the beautiful and yes, very warm month of May, to confer degrees on its graduates and to celebrate their accomplishments with parents, family, friends, citizens of the city of LaGrange, and distinguished guests. We welcome you all to the glorious celebration and grand historic tradition of the LaGrange College commencement ceremony, and we thank you for being here.
The Waits G. Henry Award is the highest recognition given to a graduating senior. Named at Honors Day, the recipient exemplifies a combination of academic excellence, service, and leadership. Morgan Deanne Shields is a very deserving winner and embodies those characteristics to a T. A political science major, Morgan distinguished herself as a scholar at the undergraduate level, presenting 2 papers at national conferences and publishing 2 articles. She has worked in the community by doing research for the Troup County Drug Court and has served on campus as a teaching assistant, and she was a member of the college's social council, this year serving as its president. Morgan was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and her family now lives in Columbus, Georgia, and we are very pleased that they are here with us today. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the Waits G. Henry recipient for 2010, Morgan Shields.
I was told to keep this speech within a 3-minute time frame, but the grades are all in, and for the first time in 4 years, I can completely disregard instructions without it negatively impacting my GPA. So enjoy. When I sat down to write this speech, I drew a complete and utter blank. And for those of you that know me, that's probably coming as a very big shock. But I turned to the man who's always been there for the students, Dean Slay. And his only suggestion was to write this speech in the form of a song, which I was more than willing to do as a duet with him. But he declined to do so, stating that duets fell under the Dean of Students, but not Dean of Student Affairs. So then I turned to my roommate, Amanda, and I asked her to write this speech for me. I even offered to pay her a very large sum of money, which totaled about $2. But $2 is a lot of money for a college student. But she declined, thanks to the honor code. So I was forced to write this speech myself, and frankly, I'm a little bit nervous. I figured every good speech starts with a quote. I know this because I Googled good speeches. And as I looked for a quote that would encompass the LaGrange College experience, I came across the Charles Dickens quote in A Tale of Two Cities, and I've broken it down for you LaGrange style. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Getting to know your professors on a personal level, that student-faculty ratio that LaGrange is so famous for, and then having those professors all sit down at the beginning of every semester and work out your class schedule so that all your tests and due dates for every class fall on the same date. And then they all have the audacity to lie to us and tell us that they don't do that. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. Getting that good grade and feeling like you really finally learned something and you're smarter than you were when you came here. And then finding out that that information has no application in the real world whatsoever. And skipping ahead 4 years, we had everything before us, we had nothing before us. This is the first day of the rest of our lives, professors keep telling us. But since when have professors been granted the gift of prophecy? Because other people keep telling us that we'll look back on our college experience as the best time of our lives. We were all going directly to heaven. We were all going the other way. I truly believe that this one is self-explanatory. But in all seriousness, I would be remiss if I forgot to say thank you to some people who've been very important to us seniors getting through the last 4 or 5 years. We couldn't have done it without our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We couldn't have done it without our families. For me, that's my mom and my dad, and my siblings, Jordan, Paige, and Jared. We couldn't have done it without all those professors who gave us that extra time, who challenged and inspired us to not only be better students, but better people. For me, that was Dr. Therese, Dr. Lightcap, and Dr. Berkeley. We couldn't have made it through the last 4 years without the people who were always there to encourage us and always had an open door. For me, that was Dean Slay, Professor Blair, and Dr. McClanahan. We couldn't have written all those papers without the librarians. For me specifically, it was Dr. Robinson, who always came through with a resource. We couldn't have made it through the last 4 years without the people who were willing to hire us in the summer. For me, that was the Cartwright Law Firm and Family Care North. We couldn't have done it without the love and support of our friends and roommates. For me, that was my roommate Amanda and friends like Jen, Jenny, and Josh. Thanks, Josh. And we couldn't have done it without Dean B. Thanks for all you've done for us. Congratulations, class of 2010. We made it.
Thank you, Morgan. You bring honor to your class and you bring honor to this college, and we look forward to hearing from you as you go out into the world. It is my honor to introduce our speaker today. To have an individual of such intellectual distinction, independence of judgment, and deep personal integrity honors both this college and this city. Before I introduce him, however, I want to express my gratitude to one of our Board of Trustees members and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Ted Beeson, for recommending him. Ted is well known in this community for being willing to share his many personal and professional connections to enrich the cultural and intellectual life of the college and the community. Thank you, Ted. You have in your programs a brief biographical sketch of James Leach, and we will be reading a citation in his honor later in the ceremony. So I won't introduce him with a review of his biography. I want to use these few moments, however, to highlight elements of Chairman Leach's character that I mentioned earlier: intellectual distinction, independence of judgment, and personal integrity. Intellectual distinction. A graduate of two of our nation's most distinguished educational institutions, Princeton and Johns Hopkins, Mr. Leach has also studied at the London School of Economics. He served as interim director of the Institute of Politics at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. With such credentials and a lifelong dedication to the humanities, it is little wonder that James Leach was recommended and confirmed to a 4-year term as the chair of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Independence of judgment. Serving more than 30 years in the United States House of Representatives as a Republican from an increasingly Democratic district in Iowa, Chairman Leach served while in the minority and in the majority. Throughout both, he won the deep respect of his colleagues on both sides of the aisle. He maintained that respect even when standing strongly against that which he believed was wrong. As an example, in 1973, when serving in his Republican administration as a member of the United States Foreign Service, he resigned his commission in protest of the Watergate-related Friday night massacre, when President Nixon fired his Attorney General and the special investigator investigating that scandal. Later, he led the House investigation of the Clinton-era Whitewater scandal, a scandal which ultimately resulted in more than 50 criminal convictions. Personal integrity. When Representative Leach led on an issue, it was an indication of passionate personal belief in the rightness of the cause, and he aligned his personal practices accordingly. A major leader on campaign finance reform, Representative Leach refused to accept campaign contributions from political action committees or PACs, or from outside of the state of Iowa. Later, he refused to allow party activists to distribute highly divisive materials during his last narrowly contested election, incurred their wrath, and ended up losing it rather than give up his deeply held principles. The last sentence of LaGrange College's proposed new mission statement states, "Valuing civility, diversity, service, and excellence, LaGrange College prepares its students to become successful, responsible citizens who aspire to lives of integrity and moral courage." LaGrange College graduates, join me in welcoming one whose life is a testament to those values and that aspiration, Chairman James Leach.
President McAlexander, trustees, faculty, and most of all, members and families of the class of 2010. It's an honor to address the graduates of a college that is committed to the concept of transforming lives through a faith-based liberal arts education. LaGrange, since its founding 179 years ago, has emphasized concern for education of the full individual, the mind and the soul. Amidst all the skills and capacities so essential to a competitive economy, America owes its enduring national character to the primacy of traditional values: honor, dignity, love, or at least respect for neighbors near and far. These values have guided LaGrange since its beginning. The importance of faith, good works, and personal accountability, expounded upon by theologians and spiritual leaders from John Wesley to John Witherspoon, Martin Luther to Martin Luther King, Reinhold Niebuhr to Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Thomas Merton to John Paul II, has enormous resonance for Americans of all religions, generations, and walks of life. These are trying times, and many have seen their sense of security slip away. But one of the cornerstones of our identity as a nation, it is a citizenry willing to take charge and responsibility for individual actions. In these times of change and its acceleration, economic upheaval, and job shrinkage, Americans are called upon to adapt to a new competitive reality. In this setting, graduates, each and every one of you, are to be congratulated for academic efforts undertaken, for missions accomplished, for preparing to lead a nation in search of a new generation of leadership. America faces daunting challenges, from increasing internal polarization to an unstable international order, where terrorist threats and bigger-than-neighbor trade policies hallmark our times. But challenge is nothing new to America. We have just emerged from the bloodiest century in history, a century in which isms of hate, fascism, and communism precipitated unprecedented loss of life and unprecedented financial cost. The hate that enveloped European outposts of advanced culture, lands of Wagner and Tchaikovsky, Kant and Tolstoy, cannot be considered aberrational. We are still working to understand how Marxist dogma spurred class conflict and the creation of the Gulag. At the other end of the totalitarian spectrum, we are still groping to comprehend the magnitude of the Holocaust and the moral compass of those who conceived of Auschwitz, as well as those so indifferent, afraid, or engulfed in prejudice that they didn't object to the gas chambers. A German theologian, Martin Niemöller, barely lived through that dark moment of the human soul at a Nazi concentration camp. For years after the war, he would poignantly note that first the Nazis came after the communist, and because he wasn't a communist, he didn't object. Then they came after the trade unionist, and because he wasn't a trade unionist, he didn't object. Then they came after the Jews, and because he wasn't a Jew, he didn't object. Then he would note that they came after me, and there was no one left to object. Propensity to hate appears to be a condition of man magnified in association with the like-minded. In this context, Einstein's observation that splitting the atom has changed everything except our way of thinking demands continual attention. In a fast-paced world where the only constant appears to be human nature, survival as well as freedom and prosperity will depend on whether we come to respect and give value to all families in all places. This does not mean that we should not maintain pride in the stirring history and special nature of our own society. America, after all, stands as a beacon of hope and opportunity to the entire world. We have every reason to dwell on our history and traditions: the establishment of the first government based on individual rights, the courage of citizens who insisted that the philosophical commitments of our founders be made reality at home, and the sacrifices of our armed forces to advance and preserve freedom abroad. Earlier this week, I visited the World War II Museum in New Orleans, and in its expansive exhibition halls, followed pictorially the march my father took from a beach called Omaha to the hedgerows of St. Lo, to a battle line called the Bulge, to the River Elbe. It is impossible to do anything except shiver in pride of the generation that gave so much to see that freedom's side prevailed in the most momentous war in history. The greatness of America was wrought at the beginning. The remarkable wisdom and courage of the men and women who formed the American Republic cannot be underestimated. Our founders were moral philosophers as well as political activists. To counter kingly despotism and ensure democratic accountability, they recognized the frailty of human nature and bifurcated and decentralized political power. Following Montesquieu, they established a checks and balance system in which power was split between Congress, the President, and the courts. This separation of power was then federalized, with duplicate checks and balances created at the state, the county, and city levels. Power separation with competitive overlaps between and within branches and levels of government established a permanent creative tension designed to protect the public from governmental excesses. But civic virtue in America was not intended simply to relate to the establishment of institutional techniques to constrain political authority. In the 55th Federalist paper, Madison noted, "As there is a degree of depravity in mankind which requires a certain degree of circumspection and distrust, so there are other qualities in human nature which justify a certain portion of esteem and confidence." Hence, the American government was founded on self-evident truths, the equality of man and the existence of creator-endowed unalienable rights. Church and state were separated in the sense that no church or faith would be established as the only American creed. Yet citizens were expected to be guided by basic moral values. Concern for civic virtue was assumed to be the American way, and this virtue would be reflected in government actions, private collective efforts, and individual behavior. There's always a tension in a society such as ours that is based on firmly held ethical and religious values, but which protects diversity of thought as a fundamental right. Transforming this tension into positive political energy is the genius of our constitutional system. Process is our most important product. This emphasis on process as opposed to outcome, the how of decision-making, has never been more important. This is true in the broader aspects of our culture as well as in government policy. There is seldom only one path. To be certain about something, individuals must either know a great deal or very little. The first condition is preferable to the second, but imperfect judgment characterizes the human condition. The best and brightest are not immune from great mistakes. That is why humility is such a valued commodity, and why civility is such an important part of a civilized society. As chairman of the National Endowment for the Humanities, one of the few nonpartisan positions in the federal government, I've been visiting campuses and dozens of other venues across this land to talk about civility. In recent years, American society and politics have become increasingly polarized. Unlike prior generations, references to the Statue of Liberty, our melting pot tradition, the motto E pluribus unum, seldom enters the political discourse. Perhaps because of the economy, perhaps because of social and religious ruptures, perhaps because of discombobulating aspects of globalism and the anonymity of new communication technologies, and perhaps because citizens have lost confidence in government and their capacity to influence its direction, many Americans are becoming angst-ridden, disrespectful of their leaders and each other. Accordingly, the case for taking stock and listening to those with whom we disagree would appear compelling. A biblical proverb calls upon us to understand above speaking. And when speaking, Colossians 4:6 instructs us, "Let your speech be always with grace, that ye may know how to answer every man." Wisely, Scripture encourages us to speak with temperance in measured fashion after listening to opposing perspectives. Another teaching, this one from the Quran, reminds us that it may be that God will ordain love between you and those whom you hold as enemies. In the Christian tradition, the greatest advice columns ever written may well date back to the first surviving writings of the early church, the letters of Paul. Of particular note is the one he wrote from prison to the Philippians. Paul's message was to embrace the verities of faith, trusting in God who comes both from the past and an unknowable future, and to let your gentleness be known to everyone. Paul did not say, tout your strength, flex your muscles. He said, let your gentleness be known. As social change quickens, the need for individuals to slow down and set aside time to reflect on the basics increases. It is not crucial that you, the class of 2010, have values precisely like those of your parents and grandparents. Times change. But it is important that you develop an appreciation for the transcendent and the disciplining role of conscience. As your graduation speaker, my charge to you is that of Paul. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. Be known for the decency by which you approach your family and careers, the who of what you are, not the what of the job or position you hold. And remember, you are part of a community of love in which this college is an academic and spiritual anchor. Go forth in faith with the trust of this community and confidence that you can make a difference. Thank you.
Every year at this time, the LaGrange College Alumni Association presents its Distinguished Service Alumni Award. The recipient of this honor is selected based on his or her continuous devotion to and support of this institution and its mission to challenge the minds and inspire the souls of these young men and women we see today. This year, with deep respect and admiration, the Alumni Association recognizes William Mansell Hodges, class of 1972. Bill, I'll ask you to come forward at this time. Bill, you have supported LaGrange College for more than 25 years with your generous donations to numerous designations and projects, including Cleveland Baseball Field, the Trustee Fund for Servant Leadership, and the Defining Moment campaign, which supported construction of the Frank and Laura Lewis Library and renovations to the Banks Building. You are a member of the President's Society, and you have been named a Fellow of LaGrange College. You have blessed this institution and her students with your servant's heart and your vision for the future. We are enormously grateful to you for your service as chairman of the college's Board of Trustees, where you have been a member since 1998. You have offered your time and expertise as a member of the board's Student Affairs Committee and as chair of the Presidential Review Committee. Last year, you led us all through our presidential transition, and we valued greatly your steadfast spirit and enduring love for this community. Your leadership and guidance have truly transformed LaGrange College. Your wife, Sheila, your family, and your friends join us and pay tribute to you on this special day. And I will now ask the Hodges family and friends to please stand. Thank you. It is my honor on behalf of LaGrange College to present you William Mansell Hodges, Bill Hodges, class of 1972, LaGrange College's Distinguished Service Alumni Award. Congratulations.
What an honor it is to be the recipient of the 2010 LaGrange College Distinguished Service Alumni Award. My 4 years at LaGrange College were an absolute life-changing experience. Not only did it build a foundation upon which to build the rest of my life, but it also better calibrated my moral and spiritual compass in a manner that would guide me throughout my life. To the graduates of 2010, let this be not only a day of graduation, but also a day of commitment to participation as you transition from students to graduates to fully engaged and active alumni. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Chairman Hodges, and congratulations. I can think of no one more deserving of this award. LaGrange College seeks to honor those who have distinguished themselves through outstanding achievement and service to the academy, country, church, business, or philanthropy. We are pleased and honored to present 3 such candidates today. Chairman Hodges, the Academic Affairs Committee of the Board of Trustees have recommended the following candidates for recognition. Chairman James A. Leach for the degree Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa. Mr. Scott D. Hawkins for the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. And Ms. Andrea Lovejoy for the degree of Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa.
As chair of the trustees of the college, I take great pleasure in accepting the recommendations of the president and the faculty of LaGrange College. I hereby authorize you to confer honorary doctoral degrees on James Leach, Scott Hawkins, and Andrea Lovejoy, together with all the appropriate honors, rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. President Alexander, please proceed.
Chairman Hodges, I present James A. Leach for the degree Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa. James Albert Smith Leach, Doctor of Humanities. Winner of the Iowa State Wrestling Championship for Davenport High School. Unbeaten in 3 years and losing only 1 match during your collegiate career. Early signs of personal dedication and excellence for which you were honored by election to 2, not 1 but 2 Wrestling Halls of Fame, one in Oklahoma and the other in Iowa. As a student of political science, education, and economics, you earned degrees from Princeton University and Johns Hopkins University and studied additionally at the London School of Economics. Serving 15 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives, representing your home state of Iowa, you authored important legislation to build our country's relationships abroad, worked to create an international AIDS trust fund, and advocated for relief in the world's poorest of countries. You founded and co-chaired the Congressional Humanities Caucus, dedicated to raising the awareness of the humanities and the great diversity of human expression. And you maintained one of the best environmental records in Congress. Chairing the Committee on Banking and Financial Services, you co-sponsored the 1999 Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, one of the seminal pieces of banking legislation of the 20th century. You taught at Princeton and Harvard, and received the Sidney R. Yates Award for Distinguished Public Service to the Humanities. Last summer, you were confirmed by the U.S. Senate to a 4-year term as chairman of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Our president has called you a valued and dedicated public servant. In your role as chair of the NEH, you have launched a 50-state civility tour to promote an environment of thoughtfulness and decency of speech in the public square. You've called the humanities the soul of society. By understanding the history, traditions, and stories that make us who we are, you said, we will make more informed decisions about our future. From the wrestling mats of Iowa to the halls of the United States Congress, to guiding one of America's most important cultural resources, we are grateful for your leadership and commitment to excellence, for your personal integrity and moral courage. Today, we humbly bestow upon you the degree Doctor of Humanities, honoris causa. Chairman Hodges, I present Scott D. Hawkins for the degree Doctor of Laws, honor Scott. Scott D. Hawkins, Doctor of Laws. You grew up in a Mill Village house in Langdale, Alabama. Your mother, Annie, an English teacher who taught school for 43 years. Your father, Alan, a World War II Army captain, awarded the Silver Star and the Purple Heart. Both gentle members of the greatest generation, your heroes. Engraved on a bronze plaque that hangs in Hawkins Residence Hall are your dad's words. In every condition I have found myself, I knew that a sincere faith in God, a strong family relationship, and a will to work were more vital than survival. With characteristic boldness, you arrived at LaGrange College in 1972, not yet a high school senior, and without a high school diploma. With the help of a bright young mathematics professor, Mike Searcy, while working weekends as a supply clerk at Langdale Mill, and after just 3 years on the Hill, you graduated with a double major in math and business. You earned your law degree from the University of Georgia, where you met your wife, Susan. You graduated from Harvard Business School and founded your own real estate corporation. Possessed of an enthusiastic confidence and a certainty that life will bring good things, you make it your business to bring good things to others. Where you see a need for service, you fill it. After accompanying your daughter on a class trip to East Africa, where she volunteered at an elementary school called Mount Kenya Academy, you and your family became instrumental leaders in building a high school there. 3 years ago, Mount Kenya Academy conferred degrees to its first class of graduates. Here on the Hill, you have changed the face of our future. You chaired LaGrange College's Defining Moment campaign, which raised $68 million. Because of your commitment to academic excellence, we were able to construct and open the beautiful new Frank and Laura Lewis Library a full year ahead of schedule. You and Susan are blessed with two remarkably talented children, Sarah and Carter, and no parents are more grateful. We planned that. By example, you taught them the importance of perseverance, integrity, and philanthropy. You have been present in their lives, and for this they are grateful. To all of us, you are an optimistic and invigorating presence. You are generous with your time, sharing your wisdom and expertise with young people, educators, and business colleagues. And so it is on this day of celebration that we grant you, Scott D. Hawkins, LaGrange College, class of 1974, the degree Doctor of Laws, honor Scott.
Well, how about that, huh? Good morning. I want to again recognize my family and friends, my wife Susan Hawkins, my mother Annie Hawkins, my longtime math professor Mike Searcy, taught at LaGrange College 42 years, his only job ever. My longtime high school friend Scott Crook, and my childhood friend Bob Johnson, who's also a trustee of the college. Thank you all for being here. You know, when I arrived at LaGrange College 39 years ago, I was not sure that I would receive any degree from LaGrange College, much less the degree I'm receiving today. And when I sat in your seat as graduates, I had no idea what my future might hold. And I'm suggesting that maybe you feel the same way today. But we all had the good fortune of attending LaGrange College and to be transformed by the experience. Here's the point. LaGrange College gave me something that I needed and everything that I needed to get started and to eventually succeed. And now you also have it as the class of 2010. What you do with it is entirely up to you now, but I am confident in your success. On your road to success, you will have ups and downs. By way of example, I have been fired twice. It was not fun. But I've always asked you to remember simply that failure is never fatal, but success is never final. I hope you will stay close to your college and serve her when called upon. Thank you, LaGrange College, for this high honor, and I wish the best of luck to the class of 2010.
Chairman Hodges, I present Andrea Lovejoy for the degree Doctor of Humanities. honoris causa. During a reporting and writing career that spans more than 3 decades, you have informed, enlightened, and inspired us. You wrote your first feature column for the LaGrange Daily News on November 7, 1978. 8 years later, you were named city editor, and in 1995, you became editor-in-chief. Your award-winning work represents an abiding respect for the human condition, an enduring devotion to civic responsibility, and an exuberant appreciation for the written word. Though retiring last year from the newsroom's daily demands, you continue to write weekly columns, for which we are grateful, because they touch us in the deepest part of our hearts. In 1982, before his death, you shared a treasured childhood memory of your father, trudging home, late from work on your birthday, with a tiny black kitten tucked safely beneath each arm. You've never doubted the wisdom of children, especially your own, who once asked if you'd ever met Abraham Lincoln. And when a confident young man proposed marriage to your daughter, you asked if he had any idea that you would be his mother-in-law. We've followed you from one adventure to the next, laughing out loud the day you mowed down 3 senior citizens so you could meet Irma Bombeck. And the year you wrote to Santa Claus with a list of toys you didn't want him to bring to your house. You've taught us to disagree with one another's point of view without losing our dignity, our manners, or our sense of humor. Why shoot, you said. They have a mama and a dog and like to watch baseball, same as you. You've covered presidential conventions, Olympic Games, and major events affecting this community in all its diversity. Ever resourceful, the morning after hurricane winds immobilized this city, you hitched a ride to the office aboard a passing motorcycle. You have followed life with your husband Bill and your children, Liza and Kyle, and now your precious grandchildren, the grand twins and the princess. We appropriately call you Grammar. For them, you balanced the role of working mom and grandmom with steadiness and grace, and today they are so proud of you. Thank you, Andrea Lovejoy, for introducing us to citizens from all walks, for giving us a glimpse of the small miracles that happen every day, for teaching us to value the simple things, and always for your loyal support of this college throughout the years. In recognition of your extraordinary contributions to this community, we honor you today with the degree Doctor of Humanities.
The first time, and before today, the only time I ever spoke at a graduation, I was a 17-year-old high school valedictorian, and I knew everything. Today, not so much. Funny how that happens. I stand before you right now certain of only a few things, but this I know. There is so much more to learn. One of the personal traits that God has given me, for which I am most grateful, is an abundant, some would say excessive, curiosity. I can wonder about anything. And if I get to wondering about something, I cannot rest until I find out. A few weeks ago, for reasons unknown to me, I began wondering about an expression you may have heard, sitting in the catbird seat. I kind of knew what it meant, but I wondered where it came from and who said it and how it came to be a part of the lexicon. In today's Google environment, there's no excuse for unsatisfied curiosity. I quickly learned that it was the author James Thurber back in the 1930s who put the phrase in print for the first time. And it was broadcaster, legendary baseball announcer, Red Barber, who made it a household phrase. If there was a batter who had no strikes and 3 balls, he was sitting in the catbird seat. The catbird, I learned, consistently sits on the highest branch, or the tallest wire, or the highest gable of a roof to sing its song. Hence, The catbird seat is considered a position of advantage and power. I hate to quibble with the likes of Thurber and Red Barber, but I think they missed a point. The catbird is a mimic thrush. It can imitate almost any songbird, but it has no song of its own. It can meow like a cat, but it can't be a cat. The catbird doesn't speak with its own voice. Today, as proud as we are of you, as full of potential as you are, you will never sit in the catbird seat or wherever you want to go unless you speak with your own voice. And so my advice for you, my hope for you is simple. Be curious. Stay curious all your lives. When you have something to say, speak with your own voice. And even if you make it to the catbird seat, remember, there's so much more to learn. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this high honor. It is the compliment of a lifetime for me. And I wish you Godspeed, go get 'em, class of 2010.
The state of Georgia has authorized LaGrange College to confer academic degrees. As chair of the trustees of the college, I take great pleasure in accepting the recommendations of the president and the faculty of LaGrange College, and I hereby authorize President McAlexander to confer degrees on the class of 2010 graduates, together with all appropriate honors, rights, privileges, responsibilities thereunto appertaining. President McAlexander, please begin.
Thank you, Chairman Hodges. Class of 2010, congratulations on your achievement. Coming from 15 different states, from the mountains of Colorado to the shores of Florida, from the plains of Texas to the forests of Maine, from 5 countries and 3 continents, significantly diverse with a rich multicultural texture. In your midst are more than 70, almost 25% first-generation college graduates. And many of you are legatees who have had parents or siblings graduate from LaGrange College. Of the 32 legatee graduates, we have 3 pairs of students from the same family graduating together today, 2 sets of brothers and a mother and daughter, and a graduate who is the 7th consecutive generation LaGrange College graduate. You are the first class to have seen a Panther football game. And among you are the intrepid, original team members who struggled through, yes, 2 winless seasons. Remember that? To a record-breaking NCAA Division III turnaround, winning in the 3rd year the conference championship and going to the playoffs. The youngest among you is only 20 years old, and the most senior, Mary Bailey Mitchell, who gave me permission to say it, graduates today at 61 years old. Each and every one of you has a unique story to tell, and we are grateful that we've had the opportunity to help in shaping it during these last months and years. Congratulations. Dean Garrison, please begin with the awarding of degrees.
Candidates for the following degrees, please rise. Associate of Arts, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Science, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
Those of you attaining your bachelor's degree may move your tassel from your right to your left and your college ring to face out, signifying that you are graduates of LaGrange College.
At this time, candidates for the Associate of Arts degree, the Bachelor of Arts degree, and the Bachelor of Music degree, please come forward to receive your diploma. All graduates except those in the first row may be seated.
Athanasia Marie Arrington. Santavius N. Burden. Michael Anthony DeBata. Kakethia M. Johnson McCuller. Jeffrey Albertson Jr.
Yeah, Jeffrey!
Ebony Anderson Hutchinson. Andrew T. Ashlock. Tabitha Denise Atcherson. Mary Frances Bailey Mitchell. Jasmine Nicole Baston. Stephen Ryan Bass. Kimberly Suzanne Beaver. Christopher Todd Bender. Sarah Virginia Burnt. Kayla Lynn Black. Courtney Johnson Bogus. Jessica Marie Bowler. Patty M. Boswell. Emily Kate Bolton. Anna Louise Bowden. Cynthia Bradshaw. David Carey Brannon Jr. Lynn Marie Brooks. Holly Snow Lauren Brown. Ryan Michael Burdett. Melissa Grace Burgess. Rose Marie Burke. April Michelle Butler. Mary Allison Carmichael. Edmund D.J. Colley. Carlise Chambers. Rosa Sharon Coffey. Rebecca Lamb Creel. Joseph Reynolds Cromwell. L. Clay Crow. Tracy Louise Cruel. Denonia Nicola Dixon Culpepper. Shanice Nicole Cunningham. Shane Curry. Katie Elizabeth Daniel. Carrie Francis Darden. Jeremy Christopher Davis. Ashley Renee DeFreitas. Peter G. Dembowski. Tavares Denard Douglas. Christopher D. Drake. Veronica Lee Drasher. Lindsay Bray Elkins. Rachel Cherie Evans. Joseph R. Fry. Samantha Renee Gambino. Amanda L. Gates. George Gegech Corey. Kim S. Gilman. Amanda Wileen Goodwin. Holly E. Griesbach. Chase Christian Brown Hall. Austin Bryant Harris. Tiffany Nicole Harris. Amy Elizabeth Hartman. Tatum Shay Heelan. Sandy Dolores Heath. Kate Ashley Henderson. William Chase Henderson. Christina Michelle Hendricks. Aaron Michael Hill. Donald Lee Hockman III. John E. Hoglin. Robert Paul Holder. Kelly Lee Holloway. Megan Marie Horan. Emily Ann Hoxie. LaShondra Antoinette Hubbard. Benjamin Callaway Hudson. Anna Wang. Christopher D. Lee Hyatt. Angela J. D. Jackson. Becky Lee Johnson.
Ready, Jimmy?
Christian Ferguson Sutherland Dunson Johnson. Mary Jones. Eric John Keels. Shandy Kennedy. Matthew Austin Landrum. Nicholas Reed Langley. Megan Marie Lapinski. Mallory Nicole Ledbetter. Nikita Therese Leonard. Matthew McCormick Lewis. Leslie Marie Long. Andrew Vincent Lowry. Alexander James Madden. Emily Hester Matheny. Robert Henry McClellan. James Webb McGehee. Megan Stewart McGinty. Susanna Amling McKibben. Wesley Lawrence Mears. Tasha Renee Milliner. Alexander Eloria Montenegro. Jacob Andrew Nessamore. Sarah Jacqueline Newland. Danielle Freeman Norris. George Uzomo Okpani. Cassandra Yvette Oliver. Mauricio A. Orozco. Rebecca Paget. Christopher Blake Palmer. Heather Joy Peak. April Serene Perry. Mary Catherine Pittman. Holly Hendricks Prather. Pamela Denise Presley. Sarah Elizabeth Proctor. Sherry Russell Pruitt. Jennifer Lisa Putnam. Timothy Francis Quirk. Joseph Edwin Rackley IV. Kenya Nina Rainey. Rakisha Ray. Lauren Rebecca Riddle. Luke Arthur Riley. Avery Shara Robertson, Jr. James Norman Robinson, Jr. John Christopher Rushton. Connie Michelle Russell. Brittany Nicole Seltrick. Annie Beth Shepard. Morgan Deanne Shields. Laura Elise Shirley. Victoria Denise Singleton Evans. Amari K. Smith. Brittany Smith. Jacob Smith. Brianna Lachey Snelling. Anna Michelle Wynn Stanley. Joel Andrew Stewart, Jr. Joseph Robert Story. Tiffany Ann Sugarmeyer. Trishina Antoya Thrash. Stephen A. Tuck. Laura Ann Beach. Thomas Edward Waddington. Christy Denise Wade. Mario Antoine Wallace. Sarah K. Laurie. Beth Danielle Washington. George Frederico Uribe Wheel. Jacob Ponder White. Joshua Lee Whittington. Ryan Willis. Ryan Paul Woods. Joseph Patrick Woke. McKendrick Carver Bearden.
Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Science in Nursing, please come forward to receive your diploma.
Justin Aubrey Baker. Torellis Toy Lyra Beasley. Joshua Michael Britt. Elizabeth Marie Cummings. Kamiko Holland Alexander Dixon. Edward Franklin Duke III. Autumn Marie Dunning. William L. Ellers, Jr. Cameron Victoria Farr. Dale Thomas Feldman.
Dale!
Joseph R. Fry. Timothy DeMond Fulton II. Eric Michael Heath.
Heath!
Amara Terry Hickson. Ashley Hoglund.
Hoagie!
Tara Denise Huzzy.
Tara!
Kevin Russell McNerney. Shayla Elise Monroe. Megan Lynn Mulford. Alexander Eloria Montenegro. John S. Newman. Richard Agbu Okani.
Love you, Mama.
Amanda Marie Olson. Chandra Y. Patterson. Jeremy Scott Pickens. Eric Justin Ratcliffe. Alexander K. Sapp. William David Simons. Amari K. Smith. Justin Michael Strickland. Robert S. Tiller III. Robert F. Walker III. Rachel Elise Watson. Joshua Lee Whittington. Kayla Elizabeth Yergin. Lindsay K. Allen. Allison Catherine Bloom. Diana Brock. Deborah Lynn Duclos Butler. Kayla Elizabeth Curtis. Samantha Lynn Hicks. Fitsum T. Mecatheria. Melody Lane Wallace Mindler. Shepard Hardy Phillips IV. Christine Francis Riley. Kristen Rebecca Shackelford. Colt Foster Schote. Elam O. Sumner. Nick Edward Teaver. Lindsay Johnson Cumberland.
Will the candidates for the following degrees please rise? The Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership, the Master of Arts in Teaching, and the Master of Education degree. President McAlexander, the graduate faculty certify that these candidates have met the requirements for the Master of Arts in Organizational Leadership, the Master of Arts in Teaching, or the Master of Education, and recommend that the appropriate degree be conferred upon each.
Assisting in the conferring of the master's degrees will be Dr. Charles Thompson, Associate Dean and Director of LaGrange College at Albany, and Dr. Margie Yates, Assistant Professor of Education and Chair of the Department of Education. The academic hood indicates the achievement of an advanced degree in a discipline. The colors of the velvet facing on the hood identify the discipline. At this time, I invite all master's degree candidates to assist one another in the donning of the hood.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Organizational Leadership, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Sharon Thomas Andrews. Angela Stokes Barber. Elaine Hardy Blankenship. Elizabeth G. Brown. April Denham Davis. Wanda H. Duncan. Joel Scott Helm. E. Aubrey Eiler. Johnny Purnell Johnson. Amelia Jordan Main. Cecilia Delise Moten. John Thomas Howell. Oliver Champlin Cindersign IV.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching, please come forward to receive your diploma.
Crystal Alexander. Marianne Michelle Ashley. Jessica Lynn Barber. Janice Brewer. Leanne Elizabeth Brooks. Nancy Bird Brown. Timothy Greg Brown. Cynthia McWhirter Bryant. Dwayne Eric Carter Sr. James Alexander Conforti. Christina S. Cooper. Gloria J. Copeland. Nanette Chico Colwell. Sandra Jean Davidson. Antoinette Denise Davis. Jessica Lynn DeMooney. Zachary William Dennis. Anthony Elder Jr. Shanna Fincher. Lee Fleming Fight. Winona Denise Foster. Tambry Short Gad. Lisa Jean Heath. Stephanie P. Hines. Kelly Jessica Howell. Leslie Moore Jones. Tiffany Marie Kessler. LaWanda Shelton Knight. Annette Mackey. Amber Nicole McWhirter. Matthew Paul Montgomery. Bradley Christopher Mormon. Judith K. Hambright Rose. Yvette Naomi Sanchez. Lee Larkin Selby, William Henry Stites, Brittany Ann Threadgill, Heather Michelle Tidwell, Margaret Danielle Todd, Melanie Reeves Vaughn, Kevin Rashawn Wallace, Amy Griffith Wiggins, Keisha Denise Williams, Keisha Denise Williams, Marcus E. Rosenberg Williams, Stephanie Denise Wynn, Kimberly Lynn Woodard,
Candidates for the degree of Master of Education, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
Anna Elizabeth Adams, Pamela Faye Farber, Brandy Johnson Barnes, Crystal Lynn Blankenship, Belinda Briggs, Bernice L. Brown, Kimberly Bowen Buchanan, Aaron Joseph Calhoun, Nancy Maria Campbell, Mallory Cole Daniel, Elizabeth Graham Doster, Felicia Rachelle Dunson, Sabrina Tennille Golden, Carol Stallnacher Hughes, Christine Marie McPherson, Rebecca Ann Ralph, Laura Elizabeth Rumer, Anna Shepard, Denise A. Shirley, Heather Lachey Tignan, Elizabeth Amy West, Meredith Lane Willis, Patsy Burdette Wynn, Becky Hughes Wynn, Elizabeth Zarate Conde.
President McAlexander, this concludes the conferring of the degrees. Won't you all please join me in one great round of applause for all of our graduates.
Graduates, we are so very, very proud of you this day. You've become a part of all our lives, and we will miss you. You leave a part of yourself with us. Your spirit will continue to shape this place. As you move out into your future, please continue to communicate with your professors, favorite staff members, and yes, most definitely, your Office of Alumni Relations. We want to hear from you. We look forward to celebrating with you your many accomplishments throughout the rest of your lives. And when you need us, we will be here. Good luck, and God bless you all. And now, please rise for the singing of the alma mater, after which the Reverend Dr. Quincy Brown will offer the benediction.
Now will you receive the benediction? As you go from this place to use your education and your gifts in service to the world, may the road you travel rise to greet you, and may the wind be at your back. And if the road refuses to rise up, follow it boldly into the valley, where God is in the valley. If the road rises high and becomes too steep, follow it to the summit of the mountain, for God is on the mountaintop. And if you feel the wind in your face, stretch out your wings and fly on the Spirit's promise that God will never leave you or forsake you. Now go in peace, with your face shining like the sun, boldly following your path into the future, wherever God may lead you. Amen.
baby, 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 baby. I got that feeling, baby. Baby, come